Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video, which are my settings on my rudder pedals, my T.Flight Thrustmaster rudder pedals. And also I'm going to be talking about my Hotas 4 rudder, how I've got that set up as well. This is very much a viewer request video. Someone was requesting this video, so here it is. Keep in mind it may be different and it may feel different for your set of rudder pedals or for your Hotas system. And of course it comes down to preference of what you prefer your rudders to feel like in the simulator. So let's not hesitate, let's get on with this video. So of course you see me taxiing around London City Airport, as always, and my rudder pedals actually feel pretty good. I've got them just where I want them. So let's show you the settings. Let's press escape, go to controls. I'm on the T.Flight rudder pedals, as you can see there. Brakes, I think I've left these as default, so these were ticked. Reverse axis as default. And if they're not, you want them to be ticked so they work properly. That's the toe brakes. And the flight control services, of course, that's just the rudder pedals. So when I move left and right, they all work just as I want them. And in the simulator, it all works just fine. Let's show you my sensitivities. That's the important part. So with the with the toe brakes, left and right toe brakes, it's reversed here, so left is Y and right is X. I think I just left them as default as it came out of the box. I may have altered them. Just take a look at what I've got here. They just work well, but it depends what you want your toe brakes to feel like and work like in the simulator. But they're just fine for me. The rudder axis, so the axis Z there. This is how I've got it set up. I put them at -90 sensitivity. Now keep in mind this works well for me. If you're having sensitivity issues with your rudder pedals, then turn the sensitivity down to a minus figure. Keep going down with this slider here. And like I said, 90% on my pedals just feel right for me. Dead zone, I wanted to put a little bit of dead zone in my rudder pedals. And 3% is just the right amount for me. Extremity dead zone. Now watch what happens if I turn this off or put it as 0. When you're using rudder pedals, you don't need to go extreme left or right anyway. But if I do, you can see that curve just goes off the charts if I go too far left or right. So I want a bit of extremity dead zone to smooth out those curves. So if I do go extreme left, perhaps when taxiing or right, I don't just suddenly go crazy when I take it to the extreme range. So I put my extremity dead zone at 20%. Is it going to work for me? It's always a bit awkward when you get it. There you go. At 20%. And that just works well in those extreme situations. If you're taxiing and you're putting a lot of right or left rudder, that just works well for me. So let's go back. I don't need to apply and save because I'll keep them on the settings. They are the settings I had previously. And actually when I'm taxiing along, it just all feels right and realistic. Like I said, keep in mind, if you're using a different set of rudder pedals, the way the pedals feel will be different and you may need to adjust those settings. These just work for the Thrustmaster T.Flight rudder pedals I found. And even in flight, it works well as well. I'll show you a video running in the background. When I'm flying around, it all just feels right. So those are my settings on the rudder pedals. Let's now jump to the Hotas 4 and show you my rudder settings there. Okay, so we're back taxiing around London City Airport, this time using my Thrustmaster Hotas 4, and I'm using the twist on the actual joystick part to control my rudder, and as you can see, look at that, it's all working very nicely indeed. Very nicely indeed. I've got my trigger button on the joystick as brakes, and that works nicely when taxiing. Just feels very, very nice. Let's press escape and go to controls and show you my... Let's jump straight to sensitivity because you don't want to see all my flight controls on my Hotas. I've released a video on that. Obviously there's a lot more going on because it's showing you all the axis, so your ailerons and your elevator and your thrust and goodness knows what. Scroll down to get to the Z axis, which is your twist or rudder axis. Now I released another video recently showing you how you can split out your rudders. On the Hotas 4, on the throttle quadrant you've got like a rocker switch. By default it's bound to the rudder. Now to change that so it's now bound to my X axis, and I've actually got that set to control my pitch. Go and watch that video I've just linked there. I won't talk about that again because I've made a whole video on that. But my rudder axis, let's concentrate on the sensitivities there. I found, and this works beautiful on this system, I found a sensitivity setting of minus, so keep that in mind, minus 72 on both the plus and minus sensitivities works well. A dead zone of 2% works well, and I've left the extremity dead zone alone and the reactivity alone. These settings just feel perfect on the Hotas 4 and probably something like the Hotas X and Hotas 1. So I'll pause there for a second so you can take a note of them. I don't know what this axis Y is on slider Y. If anybody can fill me in on that, I'll try and investigate that for another video. But nothing's bound on my Hotas 4, and I can't seem to get these working. So if anybody knows, leave a comment down below. Let's go back and resume. It just feels absolutely wonderful. Those settings for the Hotas 4, absolutely wonderful. What we'll do, we'll get back on the runway and I'll just show you a quick flight and show you how well, hopefully, this works in flight as well. But as you can see, that just works wonderful. Of course I got my hat switch to set to look freely around on my Hotas rather than snap view. Okay, let's go straight to 100% throttle. And even just taxiing, trying to stay on that center line, it just works wonderful, those settings. Oh, wonderfully. So we're getting towards that 60 knots. Let's just pitch up. And I'm using the pitch trim on my rocker switch on my throttle quadrant to get myself more or less straight and level. That'll do. Let's just turn left here, use a bit of rudder, and it just works, like I said, it just works like magic, those settings. Turn right, put a bit of rudder in. Probably not doing it perfectly there, but there we go. That's better. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So yeah, look, those are my settings for my T.Flight rudder pedals and Hotas 4. Leave a comment below What are your settings? What do you find work well? Let's help other people who are having difficulties. Leave a comment below. Give the video a like if it's been helpful to you. Don't forget to subscribe. Lots of interesting videos on the way. And I'll see you soon.